So for today's class, we will be using our 2 blocks, our yoga strap, our little massage ball, and a chair is always an option. So feel free to have one nearby if you'd like to use it for comfort, deepening into a pose, or supporting a pose. We are going to do a balancing pose today. And I will demonstrate how the chair can be used for that. So today we are almost at day 49 of the Omer, so I'm really happy to be able to do yoga with you all toward the end of the Omer. It's day 46 as of tonight, leading up to receiving wisdom, leading up to receiving Torah, and just the broader sense of wisdom that comes from Torah. So I want to read you this from a rabbi that I study with through the Institute of Jewish Spirituality. The custom of counting each day between the holidays of Passover and Shavuot is of biblical origin. This 7-week period is referred to as the Omer in reference to its original agricultural offerings. Over generations, counting the Omer has been embraced as a period of inner work and spiritual preparation for receiving the Torah anew. Our mystics associated each week and each day of the week with a particular spiritual quality or midah, a way to experience the transcendence in our lives and express our desire to live in godly ways. Rabbi Sam Feinsmith's deep and beautiful exploration of Shmirat HaDibur, which is mindful speech, is to follow. So I'll just read you a tiny piece of what he wrote. I really enjoyed it. By bringing mindful awareness to the inner phenomena that animate our speech, that is, our perceptions, biases, assumptions, judgments, intentions, impulses, thought patterns, feelings, and sensations, we unify our inner and outer life and create the conditions for our speech to become Lashon Kodesh, holy speech. Through mindfulness meditation, yoga, and contemplative text study, we develop our ability to exercise mindful speech, attending to the inner dimensions of our being that animate our words. And as we prepare to receive the Torah on Shavuot, may we utter words that are both noble and ennobling, making God's loving presence manifest right here on earth. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be so. So, Lashon Kodesh, holy speech. I think of upright. I feel like it's speech coming from an upright inner stance. And we can play with that sense of uprightness and holiness through our bodies, through our spines. So I'm going to invite you to sit comfortably. You can be on the floor, on support, or on a chair, whatever works for you. And sit in a way where you can be aware of your feet and your seat. So maybe rocking from side to side a little bit, noticing your sits bones. If your lower back is kind of rounding underneath you, pull the belly in and see if you can extend your spine and crown of your head a little bit higher and feel a sense of space being created between the vertebrae. As you inhale, feel the lift of your spine. And as you exhale, feel the dropping of the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing in through the nose and possibly out through the mouth, a nice long exhale, as if you're gently blowing on hot soup. And as your body begins to settle into this grounded yet upright posture, bring to mind awareness about how your own speech has been lately. Your speech toward yourself, toward others, toward events in the world. Without judgment, just a discerning observation. Oftentimes, our speech and judgment can lean toward what could sound like hatred, or at least negativity, even when they are in support of the ultimate good in the world. And how has your speech toward yourself been about your body or your actions? Take another deep breath and bring your hands to your heart this time. Letting go with an open mouth and a sigh. Breathing in through the nose. Letting out a sigh. Do that a few more times, creating space to breathe in holiness and exhale, letting go of anything that may get in the way of you being a channel for holy speech. And then bring your hands to your knees, and we'll start to just do some gentle rounding of the spine. Taking a seated cat-cow and bringing extra attention to the chest and the mid-back between the shoulder blades and the range of motion there. So reaching forward of your knees and dropping the shoulders down and really getting that space to stretch behind your heart. And then as you inhale and come into your cow, bring the elbows back behind you and squeeze those tips of the shoulder blades, the bottom of the shoulder blades together. And do a few of those. Letting that chin drop if that's comfortable. And then the next few of these, start to notice more of the lower back. So you're pulling the navel in and tucking the tailbone, kind of scooping the sacrum underneath you. And then tilting that pelvis forward as if you're tipping the pelvic bowl forward to pour out liquid. So the sits bones reach back behind you. So just more focus on the lower part of the spine. Today we're going to do some exercises and some asana or poses that help to strengthen the back body and help to lengthen and support posture so that we can stand upright, so that we can stand tall and receive as well as give. Pause in the center And then take your right hand to your left knee and your left hand behind you, and just take a gentle twist. And breathe into the twist. And as you exhale, take your twist over to the other side. And we'll do one more set. Nice gentle twist. The spine is tall. Your gaze is over your left shoulder. Breathe in. And on an exhale, come through center. And then inhale as you twist over to the right. And back to center. Good. Right hand on the floor or on the side of your chair if you're in a chair. Left arm comes up. Drop your shoulder away from your ear. Good. And then lean over to the right and get a nice side body stretch. Breathe into those ribs on the left side. And breathe out and just stay right here. And as you're reaching with the left fingertips, try to root down through the left sits bone. And release. And other side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale as you lean over, diagonally reaching upward. Right fingertips reach up diagonally. Right sits bones grow some roots down into whatever you're sitting on. And back to center. And then some really big shoulder circles, whatever feels nourishing for you today. Maybe you'll go both directions or do one at a time. Bring some gentle movement to the neck. What does your neck need? What do your shoulders need in this moment? What have you been holding on to? Notice your throat, your jaw, the place that houses our words, spoken and unspoken. Stretch your mouth really wide, like you're saying wow. Just make that a really big wow. And do that a couple of times. Good. Chin toward the chest. Let that rest there and take a deep breath into the back of your neck now. And let out a make sure your voice comes through, not just the breath, but the voice. Take a nice deep breath in. Let out an audible sigh. Good. And then you can look straight ahead. We're going to come onto our backs for several leg stretches with our straps. You're going to want to have your block nearby. So once you're on your back, go ahead and give yourself a hug and rock from side to side. And do some ankle circles. Whatever the body wants right now. Maybe the knees will come open a little bit to get into those inner thighs. And then bring your feet to the floor. Knees are bent. And we will take the strap on the right foot, right at the arch, maybe just a little bit above the arch toward the ball of the foot. And then wrap the straps around your hands so that you're not having to grip the strap. And make sure your elbows are on the floor so that we can keep a broad expanse across the chest. And flex your foot and just notice how the back of your right leg feels. You can keep your left knee bent or you can straighten it. Notice how the back feels if you straighten the leg, and make a choice that's wise for you today. And just start to breathe into the back of the leg. And then holding the straps, start to draw circles on the ceiling or on the sky, wherever you are today. Just draw some small circles, noticing where you feel the stretch as you move through that. And then pause and change direction. And then pause in the center, and then start to turn the whole leg inward and outward. Internal, external rotation. So your whole leg moves as a complex, all the parts of your leg, and you can see your heel going back and forth like you're drawing a smiley face with your heel. But that movement is also deep in your hip socket. So noticing the femur or the thigh bone is stirring deep into the hip. Good. Pause. Take both straps into your left hand, and if your left knee is bent, you might want to straighten it for this. We'll cross the body just until you feel a stretch in your outer leg or hip. You might even feel it down into the side of your calf. Keep your right foot flexed. Reach your right leg long, reach it into the strap, create some space in the hip joint. And breathe here. And bend your right knee just a little bit and bring the leg back to center. Change hands, holding the straps with the right hand now. Bring your left hand to your left frontal hip bone, and then start to open your leg out to the side just until you feel a stretch. Pull the navel in close to your spine. Really engage the whole core to support the safety of your back. Breathe into that inner thigh. Let's take 2 more breaths here. On your next exhale, you're engaging your core to bring your leg back up. Good. And then hold the straps both now, one in each hand. And bend your knee toward your right rib cage. Just bend it in close. Keep your foot as flexed as you can. You're going to use those straps to kind of help pull the knee down. And it's going to feel like a lot of compression in your hip joint. And then extend the leg nice and long. And do that a few times. But you can exhale to create a little more space in the abdomen as you pull the knee in toward your rib cage or toward your armpit. And then extend. Let's do a couple more. And last one. Good. Go ahead and release your strap. Take your right knee now and cross it over your left thigh. You can stay just like this. The left foot is on the floor, or you can hold onto the back of your left thigh for a figure 4 stretch or modified pigeon. And feel free to move around a little bit in this and explore the different areas of your gluteus muscles that might be tighter than other areas as you press your knee away from you, your right knee. And then bring both feet back to the mat and extend the legs long, lying flat on your back, if that's comfortable for you, and give your right leg some time to get some blood flow back, and notice the difference between the right and the left sides. And then we'll switch over to the left side. So starting with your strap around the left foot, right knee can be bent or straight. Wrap the strap around your hands. Elbows are on the floor. And just start with some stillness and observation of the back of the left leg. You can start to draw circles in the air above you. Make them not too big, maybe the size of a dinner plate, so that your hips can stay pretty stable. So we don't want the right hip rocking around while we're moving the left leg. We don't want it to move around too much. You can change directions with your circles. And pause. And now internal and external rotation. So move the whole leg inward and outward, and notice how this side feels compared to the other side. Keep the foot flexed. Pause. Take the straps into your right hand and start to come across the body so that you can get an outer leg and hip stretch. Press your foot into your strap. Lengthen the leg. Keep flexing the foot. And breathe. So opening up, softening all of these muscles that can get so tight and tense, not just from physical activity, but from stress, from pent-up emotions. So we're just letting the body have a little bit more freedom here, a little more space to release. Bend your knee just a little bit and engage your core. Bring your leg back to center. And then change hands. And again, placing your right hand now on your right hip just as a little anchor to remind it not to go anywhere. We're going to start to open the leg out to the left and keep the belly pulled in, and only go as far as you can until you feel a stretch, or until that right hip wants to pop up off the floor. We want to try to prevent that. The more you engage your belly, the more supported this stretch will be. Let's take one more breath here. And then bend the knee a little more just to help bring it back to center. Good. Now hold the straps with both hands. Wrap your hands around the straps if you'd like. And then use your hands and straps to help guide your knee down toward your chest or your left armpit. And keep your left foot as flexed as you can, like you're going to just press a little footprint on the ceiling or on the sky above you. You're going to pull the knee in as much as you can, and then extend it long with the foot flexed. As you blow out, you bend the knee, bring it in towards you. Inhale, reach up with the leg. Good. A couple more times. So this is also really supportive of the digestive system, which tends to shut down when we're feeling stressed. This last one. Good. And now release your strap. You can place it off to the side as you cross your Left ankle over your right knee or thigh now. Figure 4 on this side. Hip and jaw tension seem to go hand in hand. So just noticing your jaw. Could you make some more space between your teeth or soften your tongue or throat? Good. We're going to bring both feet back to the mat. And again, extend them long. Let that blood flow come back to all parts of that left leg, and just notice how the bottom half of your body feels. We're going to work on firing up the back of the body now and strengthening the back body. So we're going to bend the knees, feet flat on the floor. We're setting ourselves up for bridge. So your heels are close to your sits bones. And so it's very common for people to have their feet out too far. So just make sure that if you can sense or look or do your best to keep your knees just about hip width apart, which is about the width of a block set on the skinny side. So you can slide a block in between your thighs and then adjust your feet accordingly. Sometimes it makes it a little easier to feel if you're aligned. So you've got the block between the thighs, and just squeeze the block a few times. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Just say good morning to those adductors that are part of your core. Good. Now, the next time you squeeze, go ahead and keep that squeeze, and your hands are on the floor next to you by your sides, and press into your feet and just lift the hips off the floor. You can lift the whole spine and as if it's one unit, even though we know it's not. And you're going to squeeze the block, lift the hips, and just imagine you have little suns on your hip bones, and they're just shining. Those little suns are just shining straight up to the sky. Squeeze the block, press into your feet a lot, and as you do that, your hips will rise a little bit more, most likely. Good. Lower down, nice and slow. Take a breath to prepare. And on your next exhale, you're going to squeeze the block again, lift the hips, and really press into your feet, almost as if you're trying to slide your feet down toward the foot of your mat, but of course your feet aren't going to go anywhere. And then creates some length through the front of the body and activity in the back body. And lower down. Take a breath here, just rest for a moment. And we'll do one more on your exhale. Squeeze and lift. Keep squeezing and lifting. You might feel a little bit of glutes turning on here. You don't have to try to squeeze your glutes though. Focus on the inner thighs and the lift. And lower down. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to take the block away. Hug your knees into your chest, but this time have them be wide. If that works for your body today, just rock from side to side. Let's bring some more ankle movement in. Good. And then we're going to turn to our side. We're going to just actually turn over. And we're going to just flip ourselves like a pancake. Take your time. It sounds a lot easier than it is, right? And we're going to set ourselves up for cobra pose to strengthen the erectors, which are line along the side of your spine. These are very important. The erectors are very important for being able to stand up tall. So we've got the feet, the tops of the feet are on the floor. The fingertips are lined up with the tops of the shoulders, or maybe even a little bit below. Your forehead can be on the floor. Squeeze your elbows toward each other and slide your shoulders down your back. The setup for Cobra is so important. So you're going to squeeze those elbows together and don't let them go anywhere. They want to stay next to the ribs. And then pull your belly button up as if there's a little like cupcake or piece of awesome chocolate or candy under there that you don't want to squish. So just imagine you're lifting away from that yummy treat. And then start to lift your head, but don't lift it high. Just lift it off the floor and keep your neck long. So you're still gazing down at the mat. And then start to really lift through the chest, and then keep squeezing the elbows together and dropping the shoulders down away from the ears. It's a small cobra. You should be able to lift your hands a little bit off the floor so that you know you're not using your arm strength, but your back strength to lift you. Good. And of course, if that's not possible, it's okay, because we all have to start getting strong somewhere, right? So if you need to press a little bit into the floor with your hands, that's fine. And then lower down. So that should feel like your back is firing up. We're going to do 2 more. Set up for this. Press the top of your feet into the floor. Your kneecaps might even rise up a little bit off the mat. Suck your belly in. Start to rise up. Elbows come toward each other. Keep breathing. Little sips of air. And lower down. Take a pause here. So this is also massaging the adrenals, which live on top of your kidneys, to really support a healthy response to stress, a healthy adrenaline response, and just natural energy throughout our day. So we're going to do 1 more. And so this time, think about that space right under your lower rib cage in the back, where your kidneys live and your adrenals live, and think of it getting a nice little massage as you lift yourself up. The neck stays long. And think of give a little love to that lower back area. Breathe and release. Good. You can relax your arms maybe by your sides and turn your head to the side for a moment. And we're all going to make our way very carefully to through tabletop to a child's pose. So you can come onto your forearms if you want first and lift up with the belly, just watching out for that lower back. We're going to take a counter pose, which, if it works for your body, would be a child's pose, just to release that back bend. Or even just a little cat-cow. We're all going to do cat-cow together. So you can come to hands and knees and start in tabletop. So those wrists are under the shoulders and the knees are under the hips, and the knees are about hip width apart again. So rounding and extending the back. Connecting your breath to the movement. So in order to stand upright, we need more than just strength, right? Otherwise we would break. We'd be brittle and we would break. So we need not just strength, but also malleability, flexibility. That is where true strength comes from, is a balance of both. Pause in your tabletop and bring your left knee in toward the center of the mat a little bit, and then bring your right leg out behind you. So foot is flexed. We're going to come into bird dog. So before we lift any arm up, I want you to get a sense of those frontal hip bones. Sense that they're both pointing straight down to your mat. Keep your back foot flexed and not too high. We want to just have it the ankle level to our buns. And then if it works for you today, you can pull the belly in and then lift the left arm out in front of you with the palm facing in. For 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. And then we'll take the other side as you're ready. Hips square to the floor, those little sunshines shining straight down, belly's pulled in, left leg comes up, right arm might come up too. 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Go ahead and do some rounding of the back, maybe some tail wagging. You can release your wrists if you want, whatever you need to do to let go of that posture. Okay, let's come to stand, and we're going to use our massage ball for the feet. So let's start with the right foot and just give it a nice little massage, iron out any sore spots. So in support of this midah of Lashon Kodesh, holy speech, there's 3 questions we can ask ourselves, and I'm sure most of you have heard of these before, or maybe even used this as a guide. It's always very helpful for me. So before we say something, we can ask 3 questions. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? And most of the time, 2 out of 3 will be there, but there will be 1 missing. And if there's 1 missing, then whatever it is that we're about to say may need some adjustment. It also, when we have to ask that question before we say something, it really helps us to take a pause, right? We're actually really bringing mindfulness to whatever speech we are using. Go ahead and switch over to the other foot. If we ask, is it true? Sometimes we find out that, oh, well, it's not necessarily true, it's just my strong opinion. And how often do we say things to ourselves that aren't true and aren't kind? Or to others, how often do we say something unnecessary to someone else or about someone else? Is what we are going to say going to contribute to healing and ultimate good, or will it perpetuate suffering? Keep breathing, keep finding those spots in your feet that need love. Take another couple of passes through that foot. And then when you're complete, go ahead and place that off to the side. You might even stretch the top of your foot now just by curling the toes under, only if you know this won't make your toes cramp. Just a little stretch of the top of the foot, very gentle, even stretching the bottom of the toes. Just move the toes around a little bit on both sides. Good. Let's stand in mountain pose. Feel all the edges of your feet really connected to your mat. Feel yourself upright here in mountain with the hands facing slightly forward in a posture of receptivity. Maybe your gaze is slightly downward, or maybe your eyes are closed. Feel this posture of readiness to receive. And then inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And as you exhale, dive forward with a flat back and land either fingertips on the floor or your blocks or your chair. Let your knees bend as much as you need to and release your head. Feeling some traction in the spine. Start to look up and then bring your hands to your shins. Start to come up with a flat back. Arms out to the side and up. Big breath, beautiful. Exhale your hands to your heart. We can keep the legs, but let's bring them together. And we're going to reach the arms up again in prayer position when the thumbs can cross over each other. And just lean over to one side. Just till you feel a stretch. Squeeze those legs. Good. Come on up. Other side. Good. These look great. Come on up. And then bring your hands behind your back and place your palms on your very lower back on the sacrum, right on the above the tush area. And the same idea of bringing those elbows close to the body. Squeeze an invisible beach ball. Squeeze your thighs and just lean back just the tiniest of bit. Just press the hips forward like you're going to press into a wall. Little back bend. And come on up. And then just shake it out. Shake your body. Do a little bouncing, little shaking. And we'll come into a couple of our standing postures. So here is where a chair could be helpful for you for balance. I'm going to keep it kind of far at the top of my mat because when we tip over, I want to be able to reach for it. But we'll get to that. So you've got the top of your mat, right foot steps forward, left foot is back. We're coming into warrior one pose, so the heels line up for the most part. That's a good place to start, is a heel to heel alignment. If it causes your back to get a little crimpy or kind of crunchy feeling, then just walk your right foot to the right a little bit and create a little more space for yourself in your lower back. Bend that front knee as deeply or as shallow as you want, right? So if your knees bother you, you can keep a little bend, or you can go deep to where the knee is right over the ankle joint. And then bring the arms up overhead. So warrior one. And then from warrior one, we're going to make a W with our elbows, right? Cactus arms here. And squeeze those shoulder blades toward each other again, really activating the upper back here. This really helps to strengthen these muscles. And then bring the hands behind you now. So the palms will face each other. And we're going to hinge forward. So if you've got any lower back challenges, we want to really, all of us want to engage the belly, but just maybe don't go as low if you have lower back sensitivity or pain. Otherwise, we're going to just take a deeper forward fold into humble warrior. This is a lot. This is a lot because you're working your upper body as well. Good. And then come on up. So if you're using a chair, you'll need to adjust. If you're not using a chair, you're going to step right into warrior three. But I'm going to demonstrate with the chair. So I'll step back from the chair a bit. My leg is still bent. I'm going to reach my hands forward for the chair and lift my back leg. And we're going to just hinge at the hip crease. So this is kind of like the bird dog, right? We want to have the hips shining forward and down. Back leg is nice and strong and flexed. If you're using a chair, you can hold the chair and play with how deep you want to go with this. If you're not using a chair, you can have your arms back behind you, like we did in the humble warrior. A lot of work on the ankles and legs here. And then come on up. And then shake that out. So whatever you did was perfect, as long as you were breathing and speaking kindly to yourself and listening to your body. So we're going to take the same series of movements on the second side. So left foot is forward, knee is bent. Adjust your feet so that you feel like your hips can face almost forward without feeling crimpy in the lower back. Your arms are up in warrior one. Good. Pull the belly in. We're going to come into our cactus arms. Draw those elbows back as if you could reach the back heel with your elbows. Good. And then hinge forward and adjust your arms so they're back behind you like jet wings or something. And press those hands toward each other like you're holding on to a beach ball between your hands. Good. Now decide if you're going to step into warrior three. You can just step your back foot up until it feels safe enough to lift the back leg. Or if you're using a chair, you'll want to adjust so that when you hinge forward, you have a place to put your hands. So just choose how you're going to come into this balanced pose. The key here is to pull the belly in, square your hips, and be kind to yourself. Yeah, smile. Yeah, smile, yay. And come on out of it. Good, that is no joke, that pose. Let's bring the hands to the hips and just do some release. And we're going to open up the legs really wide. If you want to have your blocks nearby, we're taking our wide-legged forward fold. So we're going to take nice wide stance with the feet, toes point forward. Bring your fingers, your index fingers to your hip crease. And with a flat back, start to hinge forward until you find whatever you're going to land on. So maybe you'll just come halfway down. Maybe you'll come all the way down. We're releasing the lower back. Working on that balance between rigid and stiff and strong and flexible and malleable. Finding that balance for true strength. A balance between standing up for what's right and staying open to other possibilities, to other ways of viewing things. You can press into your hands to come up halfway and then heel toe those feet together. Take your time till the feet are under the body enough so that you can rise up with a flat back. Good. Good, and then we're going to, if you have your chair on your mat, you might move it off to the side or turn it around in case you're going to use it for Shavasana. So we're going to come to our backs. And we'll take a supported twist here. So if you have your block nearby, you might want to use that, or your blanket. A blanket is a nice way to support a twist as well. I'll use a blanket as an example. So the knees are bent. Lift the hips and scoot them over to the right a few inches and place them back down, and then let the knees drop to the left, either landing on a blanket or a block or having that between your knees. A nice gentle twist. Arms can be in the T position or overhead or on your body. Notice if there are any muscles right now that are holding on that could actually release into this shape. And then pull the belly in and lift those knees back up, and then shift your hips over to the other side, plus a little more, right? So they're off to the side a bit, and then knees come to the right. Find your arm position. Right speech, speech with integrity, doesn't just go out into the world as wavelengths, as little waves out to the universe, but it also travels inside of us. So our words are so powerful that they can create health within the body and balance. At the very least, peace, which creates a healthier body. Pull the belly in and bring both knees back up. And then see if there's anything else you might need. Some of you might want to lift your legs up for a legs up pose, or maybe there's another stretch you need. We'll take a couple of minutes to take whatever finishing poses you might need. I'll bring my legs up. If you're bringing your legs up, you can use that block right under the sacrum, or even a folded blanket if it's folded evenly. From whatever shape that you're in, you might begin to transition to a resting pose of your choice, setting up in a way that feels really supportive. And as your body begins to settle in, notice what might be holding on, what might still be efforting that could let go. Notice what might feel guarded but is actually safe in this moment. Allow yourself to be tender. to feel, and to witness without judgment, with kindness, with holiness. Elohai N'zor L'shoni Meira. Elohai N'zor L'shoni Meira. Elohai N'zor L'shoni Meira. Elohai, Elohai, Elohai N'zor L'shoni Meira. Elohai N'zor L'shoni Meira. Elohai N'zor L'shoni Meira. Elohai, Elohai, Elohai N'zor L'shoni Meira. Elohai N'zor L'shoni Meira. Elohai N'zor L'shoni Meira. Elohai, 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 Elohai. Allow your hands to rise up to your heart and to your belly. And take a moment to just be with yourself in truth, whatever is true for you right now. Choose words of wisdom and compassion to offer yourself right now. Take a big breath in and let it out. And when you're ready, rolling to your side to gently press yourself up to seated with your hands in prayer at your heart. And let us join together in our universal blessing. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free. May all beings be loved. And may all beings have peace. May it be so. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Shalom.